Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Brewer. Here. Trustee Carter.
Here.
Trustee Grant. Trustee Tate. Trustee Todd. Here. Trustee Zupan. Here.
Okay, first item, Village Clerk has emergency and mass notification system code red.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of weeks ago, at my last committee meeting, I presented you information on a program called Code Red that is instituted in the majority of the villages surrounding us, but that's not the reason that I brought that to your attention. I brought it to our attention because we definitely need a system for notifying residents as well as you when there's an emergency in the village. And I talked on it just a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but we agreed that we would have a webinar so that we can find even more information out. We have with us today, believe it or not, Brian Choka, who will be presenting this webinar for us. You will have an opportunity to hear his presentation and to ask questions afterwards or during whatever you guys are most comfortable with. Brian, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, whenever you are.
We're ready.
Okay, thank you everybody for having me here tonight. I really appreciate the time. I know you guys probably have a full agenda, so I won't take up much of your time tonight, but I will thoroughly review the Code Red Mass notification system with you so you can see exactly how the system allows you to alert your residents and businesses and visitors a variety of different ways. Our company, Sauk, we have over 40,000 global clients that utilize our mass notification systems to deliver information to a wide variety of audiences. There in the Chicagoland area, we're providing service to over 100 villages and cities throughout the area. A large number of local communities using it: Chicago Heights, South Chicago Heights, Lansing, Country Club Hills. The list goes on and on of local communities that are using the service to inform residents very quickly of situations that are going on throughout their communities. The Code Red system will allow you to send telephone calls as voice messages to home phones, business phones, and cell phones. You will be able to send text messages, email messages. The system can also integrate with social media, so the same message that you send out as a telephone, text, or email can also automatically populate the village's Twitter account or the village's Facebook page, so your social media audiences can view your alert that you send as well. And then the last way you'll be able to send alerts out is to residents that have downloaded the Code Red mobile alert app on their smartphone devices. So the way the app works is wherever that device goes throughout the region, your citizens will be able to receive Code Red alerts in any community that they're in if that community sends out a Code Red notice. For example, if a resident in Chicago Heights has this app downloaded on their smartphone and they're visiting your community or working in your community or just simply driving through town, because that device is located in your community at the time of your alert, they will receive your notice, and that works the other way as well. So your residents will also be able to receive other local community alerts as they travel throughout the region. Now, since you're sending out telephone notices as part of your message delivery, the way we construct your database for residents and businesses is we do it through a multi-tiered approach. Number one, we're going to provide you with a residential and business calling database that we already have on file for your community. It's made up of white page listings, consumer activity databases, and business data. So we already have a database on file for your community, and that database will be loaded into your Code Red system day one. You also have the ability to incorporate any additional data you would like to include that you have on file that includes name, address, and telephone number of your resident. So for example, that could be a water billing database. It could be your 911 database. You just simply have to forward those files to us, and we will upload them into your system for you to use in conjunction with the database that we have. The last way that we're going to be able to gather contact information is we're going to provide you with a link to place on your village website where residents and businesses can go and add additional contact information to the system. So I just switched over to the City of Chicago Heights page, and I'm just going to scroll down on their homepage, and you're going to see they have the code red right over here on the left-hand side. Residents in Chicago Heights can click on this link, and they can create a username and password and provide the system with additional contact information for them to receive alerts on. All they would do is simply enter their name, their address, phone number or multiple phone numbers. If they would like to sign up for text messages from the city, they can add email addresses and also sign up for different types of alerts that you would like to offer. For example, once a resident enters their information and continues, you have the ability to customize the page and ask citizens to check boxes if they want to enroll for water notifications, announcements of street closures, announcements of community events. You can really break down the type of alerts that you want to offer and ask citizens to sign up for those specific alert types. So again, the database is going to be made up from a database that we provide. You can add additional data files to that, and then residents will have the ability to opt in additional contact information by going to a link on your website and providing contact information to go into the system and into the database for you to be able to contact them on. Now, when you need to use the system to initiate a notification, you can do it one of two ways. From a mobile app that you can put on your smartphone or tablet device, you can access your code red system and initiate a notification. Or if you're utilizing a computer with internet access, you can simply enter your username and password like you see on the screen right now and click on the login key. And this is going to bring us into the dashboard of Code Red where there's a lot of different windows and views and features and functions that you have access to broadcast messages to the public. You can also customize your system to maintain what we call contact groups. And a contact group is a way for you to utilize Code Red to also communicate with your staff. So you can have the police department, the fire department, the water department, administration, different groups for your staff that authorize users that you allow access to Code Red to also communicate information to staff by sending telephone, text, or email messages. So really, regardless if you're using the mobile app on your smartphone or tablet devices, or the web version and the dashboard that you're looking at right now, it only takes 2 steps to send out a notification. Number one, you select your audience. Step number 2, you can find the message that you want to send to them. And as you can see on my screen, I have a lot of different panels and windows on my screen for a lot of different features and capabilities. All these access points will be thoroughly gone over with you guys during the setup and training part of Code Red. But I'll give you guys a little peek at some of the different ways that you can broadcast alerts to the public for an alert. One way is the map and build here. It's a very simple process. You have the ability to access your emergency database or your general database. When residents opt into the Code Red system, they have the ability to choose whether or not they want to receive emergency alerts only or emergency alerts and general non-emergency messages. So if you want to do a geographic-based notification to the emergency database, you simply click on the emergency button here. And this is going to bring up a map of your community. And every single record in the database that I talked about earlier is all geocoded to the precise latitude, longitude coordinate. So that allows you to do geographic-based notifications to your residents. There's a lot of capabilities on the map. You can see the street view. You can see the satellite view. You can zoom in on the map to get all the way down to street level. And you can zoom out of the map to get a more aerial view. I'm just going to click to the street view because it's a little cleaner look for your screen there. Now again, every record in the database is assigned to a latitude longitude coordinate. So really what we need to do now is we need to tell Code Red who do we want to send this alert to.
And we can do that from our drawing tool down here at the bottom, where you see my mouse circling. You have a freehand tool that allows you simply just to draw a contact area that you want to notify. You have a polygon tool that allows you to outline a contact area. You have a circle tool that will drag that out for a radius, and it will also show you the mile radius we're about to notify here in the center of that circle. So this is a 1.043 mile radius around that location. And then I also have a rectangle square tool. So if this is the warning area that you wanted to broadcast a message to, you simply draw it, and then tell the system, do we want to notify all records in the red, businesses only, or residents only? You pick and choose. You'll be able to see a preview window here of how many telephone calls, email notifications, and text alerts that we can send from the database from within that red area that we just selected on the map, and then we simply save and return. At this point, we're going to create a new message, and this tells us all the different ways that we can send a message out to, whether it's a voice notification, if any local resident in the community signs up to receive alerts and they're using a TDD for TTY device as a hearing impaired resident, when they opted into the system, if they indicated that they're using one those warning devices, this will be automatically checked here, and your messages that you're about to send will be delivered to TDD and TTY devices. You can broadcast messages to the Code Red mobile alert app. You can send email and text alerts. You also have options to allow for replies that allow citizens or staff that you're sending this notice to reply to your message. Whether you ask residents a yes, no question, and you ask them to respond, or you ask them if you're looking for, let's say, a missing person in the community, and then they can respond. If they have seen this individual, they can respond yes or no. And then they also have the ability to type in the text box any information that they want to provide you with. So, for example, if they did see that missing person, they could either hang up the phone and contact you, or if they received a text message, they could reply where that individual was seen. You could also broadcast the message to your social media outlets. So you have a lot of different ways to broadcast the alert, and then you simply create your message and either type the message into your computer or record a message by using your own voice, and then sending out that alert very quickly to the public. Thousands of notifications within minutes are going to be broadcasted out through the protest system, and your recipients have the ability not only to receive the message that you sent to them, they can interact with your message by providing you back information if you ask them to, or if somebody receives an app-based notification from you, that resident also has the ability to share your official message by sending your message to friends or family as a text or an email, or by posting your official message to their personal social media to allow your message to create legs out in the community and reach a much larger audience. So the most common way for communities to broadcast an alert is by doing a map-based notification. It allows you to be specific and only contact those individuals that you want to. If it's a water main break and only certain households are under the warning, you can drive all the way down to the household level and only select a few houses that you need to notify to broadcast that alert. You have several other options that can notify the entire village, specific streets, and then address ranges and size of the streets that you want to notify, and then the different staff teams that you have loaded into the system. So there's a wide variety for you to make your selection as to who's going to receive the message, and then record or type the message content that you want to send to them. After an alert broadcast, you're able to view statistics of who received your message, who did not receive the message, if they interact with the message, and if they provided any feedback to you. So I'm just going to give you an example of what a statistics page will look like. For all of your notifications, you're going to see a bar graph at the top. It's going to tell you how many telephone calls, email, text message, and TDD and TTY notifications that you sent out for that notification campaign. Down below, you're able to view a pie chart of telephone statistics. So for this example, you can see that 33% of this notification were delivered to live individuals. 67% was delivered to an answering device. And then as you use the system and other things happen with the notification, you're going to see different color slices of the pie as to what just happened with that notification. If individuals received it, how they received it, and if they did not receive it, why it was not delivered. You can also view the contact report. So you're going to see statistics across the top. It's tabular reporting for telephone, email, and text alerts. You can turn on or off any of the header fields that you see in blue. You can export the data to Excel. And then down below, you'll see one by one every alert that you send out to the public. So if you send a large quantity of notifications, thousands of alerts out to the public, you're going to see a full disposition report. You're going to see everybody's name, the telephone number that you called, when it was attempted, and was it delivered to a live person? Was it delivered to an answering device? Did the message not go through? And it's going to state why it didn't go through. You'll also see the address of the individual in your database, and then you'll see a key press column. For example, you can ask citizens to respond to your message through a telephone call and say, if you need further assistance, please press 1 now, and then you'll be able to see a report of everyone who pressed the 1 key that you can sort and bring everyone who pressed the 1 key up to the top by pressing the key press button here. So that's a quick little overview of Code Red. There's a lot of ways to initiate alerts, whether it's to the public or to staff. The system allows for one-way messaging as well as two-way messaging to get information back. You have full reporting to see who received the message and who did not receive the message. And it's a very simple system to use. You simply select your audience, who's going to receive the message, and then you craft the message that you want to send to those individuals. Again, as far as the database goes, we're going to provide you with a residential and business calling database. You can add databases to that, and then residents will be able to visit your website and provide additional contact information by clicking on a link that we're going to provide to you for you to place on your home page for citizens to continue to opt in, provide additional contact information, so your alerts are received a wide variety of different ways throughout the community. Again, telephone notifications, text, email, social media, and mobile app alerts you're going to be able to broadcast from the system very, very quickly. It's just how you saw me do it tonight. I'm simply going to a map, making a selection, identifying how I want that notification to go out, and then crafting the message that I want to send. Our pricing is based on population, and I provided 3 different pricing options for you to choose from. Now, each of the 3 pricing options come with unlimited text, email, social media, and mobile app alerts. Where each plan is a little different is the lot telephone notifications that are included in the annual subscription plan. So option number 1 is a flexible use plan for $3,500. Again, you're going to get unlimited text, email, social media, and mobile app. And we're also going to provide you with 15,000 annual minutes for delivered voice messages. Minutes are deducted from that bank for only connected calls that are delivered to a live person or an answering device, and they're deducted in 6-second increments. So for easy math, if you were to deliver a 30-second message with 1,000 telephone numbers, roughly 500 minutes will come off that minute bank. So again, $3,500 annually, you will receive 15,000 annual system minutes. We also have an alternate plan. This plan is for $4,250. Again, unlimited text, email, social media, and mobile app. And then we provide you unlimited calling time for emergencies. And then we also provide you with a bank of 10,000 minutes for non-emergency general calling. So that's our unlimited emergency package with the ability to also send out calls for non-emergencies. And then the last option to choose from for $5,000 annually, you receive unlimited calling for emergencies and non-emergencies, in addition to the unlimited text, email, social media, and mobile apps. So really, depending on what your policy and protocol for use is going to be, what individuals you want to give access to the system, how often and frequently you want to use the system. We have 3 custom plans that are tailored around many different usage levels. And whichever option you guys choose, we will be able to draft the appropriate paperwork for you guys to move forward with the system if this is what you choose to do. So really, that's what I wanted to review with you, just a quick overview and a snapshot of how to launch an alert, the different modes of delivery that you have the ability to deliver notifications to, as well as the 3 different pricing options that you have available to choose from. Marvin, is there anything else you want me to cover, or should we open it up to questions?
I think we should open it for questions. Just so that you know, we have six trustees in the room, the mayor, and we have about 27 of our residents all listening to you. But I-
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Did Mr. Mayor want to say something now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, I'm listening to your pricing option. What is the startup cost?
No startup fee, no ongoing maintenance fee. It's just a single cost per year. Those 3 prices that I provided to you is the annual fee that you will pay. No setup, no implementation fee, no ongoing maintenance fees. It always allows you to know how much to budget from year to year. We have thousands of communities throughout the country that use our system. We know that you guys go through budget processes each year. We try to make it simple on you. So those 3 plans that we went over, it's just a single cost concept, no setup, no maintenance, no ongoing fees in addition.
Are there any equipment required?
No equipment is required. It's a web-based service, so you will gain access to your system from any computer with internet access, or by going to a mobile app on your smartphone or tablet devices. That's how you initiate a notification like you saw on my screen. And then the equipment that sends out the alerts is all equipment that we own, operate, and maintain, and it's spread out in multiple redundant facilities throughout the country. And that's the equipment that broadcasts the messages for you. So there's nothing required on your end, nothing to purchase, nothing to maintain, nothing for you to house. It's completely web-based. You access it from any computer with internet access or a mobile app, and then our equipment sends the notifications into your community for your recipients to receive.
Okay. Also, do we have to have a designated person that would actually feed you the information, or would you collect information from different departments? How would you get your information to disseminate?
The database for residents that will receive alerts.
In other words, would we have to designate a person? If we have an emergency, if there's someone that has to let you know what's going on, or, I'm sure that has to happen, correct?
Yeah, so what's going to happen is when you have the emergency or you have an informational bulletin that you want to send out, you at the village are going to be able to designate certain staff members that you're going to allow access to Code Red. And then your staff members have the ability to simply log in like I just did on the computer, select the area that they want to notify, or designate that they want to notify everybody in the village, and then record their own personal message or type it. So your staff will fully control the messages that are going out and the audiences that it's going to be sent to. And if for whatever reason any of your staff members have any questions at the time of an alert, we have an outstanding 24/7 technical support team. You can contact our staff around the clock, and we have operators standing by to assist.
Okay, and then each resident individually has to sign up, correct?
The residents have the ability to sign up and provide contact information, but we also will be loading the system with a compiled database. We're going to provide a database made up of white page listings, consumer activity databases, and business databases for your residents. You can add additional databases, the village can, by providing us maybe a water billing database, your 911 database. So that's going to be the initial database inside of program. And then residents have the ability to opt in additional contact information by visiting your website and providing that contact information to be added.
And my last question, contract. Is there a limit or is it year-to-year renewable, or say for instance, we opt in to the 3,500, but after 6 months we feel that the 5,000 a year is more suitable? What would you do with that case?
That's a good question. So it's 1-year service agreement that you will be signing. You have the ability to start on either any of the packages that we're providing. If, for example, you start with a $3,500 package, like we mentioned, in 6 months, and you're starting to use it, or you have the ability to upgrade to either of the other 2 packages at any time.
And as far as the contract, is it year-to-year, or is there a multi-year contract we have to sign?
It's a 1-year contract with the ability to renew it in 1-year cycle. So you're only signing a 1-year contract, and then you have the option to renew it each year moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Any other trustee have?
Yeah, just a quick question. How do we make sure that our residents' information is protected? What do you have in place that kind of keeps that information confidential?
Martha, that question was really hard for me to hear. Can somebody closer to the phone repeat that, please?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
He stated, what provisions do we have to ensure privacy of our residents? I'm sorry?
Yeah, that's a good question. Part of the contract you're going to be signing is a big part of it is database privacy and confidentiality. The data is 100% confidential and resides on our servers. And your users that send out alerts, you don't even have the ability to see the data until after a notification is broadcasted. So the database is 100% confidential, it's very secure, and if you guys decide to move forward with the program, you will see in the contract a big database privacy and confidentiality part to it.
I'm sorry, when I thought you mentioned that there will be capabilities of seeing that data through an Excel spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
So then if that's the case after an event, who would then have access to see the results of the responses? Would it only be?
If one of your staff members that you give access to the system wants to export the data, the telephone call numbers are X'd out on that Excel report, so you don't even see the telephone data that's included. If you were to view the report on the interface, the phone numbers are X'd out, and you won't see those phone numbers unless you hover your mouse over one of those telephone numbers. So it is not only protected, but it's also covered inside of the interface and restricts the ability to export telephone numbers as well.
Brian, this is Beth. I've got a couple questions for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, under the $3,500 cost, with those 15,000 minutes, is that a combination of emergency and general calling minutes?
If I heard that question correctly, for the $3,500 package, you're asking if the 1,500 minutes are for emergency in general, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. You get 15,000 minutes to use for emergency alerts as well as general non-emergency alerts.
Okay. Second question I have for you, if we put a link on our website where residents can sign up on the website, what do you have in place to ensure that there are residents signing up and not just any old buddy who lives in a different community who wants to get the alerts? I don't want to pay for somebody who lives somewhere else.
Sure, no, anybody can opt into your system. The only thing that's required is a village address. So anyone who opts in utilizing a village address, because remember, each record in the database is assigned to that address and that latitude longitude coordinate, they have the ability to opt in. So oftentimes, people will opt in that live outside of your community, but maybe I have a mother who lives in your community and I want to receive alerts to make sure that everything's okay at my mom's house. I can opt in utilizing my mom's address in your community to make sure I receive information for her location. So the one thing that's required is a valid village address, and then residents will be able to opt in based off of the contact information they want to provide, receive alerts based off of that address.
Further to that, though, are you looking at the latitude and longitude coordinates for the village itself, or are you strictly looking at zip code? And I ask that because we share a zip code with other communities.
Can somebody repeat that, please? I'm sorry, it was difficult to hear.
Sorry, I know you were closer, and it seemed like you were easier to hear. So is it that you are tracking the latitude and longitude coordinates for the village itself, or are you basing that on the zip code for Sauk Village? And I ask that because we share a zip code with other communities.
The records in the database that are assigned to an address, our system geocodes it to the latitude and longitude coordinates, which place it in the village database. So that's how those coordinates are obtained.
Okay, thank you.
And then even when somebody opts in, when they provide their contact information and their address, the system will show where that address is located on a map, and that resident has the ability to approve the location that their record is going to be assigned to, and that resident also has the ability to move a push pin to place it on the precise location if they choose to.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Hearing none, then Brandon, thank you for your presentation. And our next steps would be to discuss it amongst the trustees and the mayor. And if they give it a go, then that's when we can take a vote. And then we'll be back in touch with you. Either way it goes, we'll be back in touch with you. But they definitely, in terms of their processing protocol, they will continue to discuss what you said, ask questions, explore which price point is more beneficial to Sauk Village, and then we'll make a determination. But I do have a question. I'm sorry. You mentioned training. What type of training is involved?
That's a good question. So if you implement Code Red, immediately following us receiving a signed contract from you, we will set up your system. We will create the user accounts and passcodes for your staff members that you want to give access to Code Red, and then we will schedule a base training session. So the connection point is similar to what we did tonight, where you can get your users together in one room for training, and then our training staff goes a lot more in depth with the system. Training usually takes about an hour or two, depending on how many questions you have. And then inside of Code Red, this icon right here that you see is our resource library. By clicking on this, you all also have access to training materials, different user guides, so you can always view our manuals and guides. And then as a user moving forward, you'll receive emails from our client support team every month that lets you know what webinar sessions are available for that month. So if you haven't been on the system for a while and need a refresher course, you can always log on to a webinar. Or if you have a new person that joins the village that you want to give access to the program, they can log on to a webinar anytime, any month moving forward for training.
Fantastic. Okay, Brian, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
with this system or any system, I do think that we need to establish an emergency protocol for the village so that if an emergency, if a catastrophe happens, we know exactly the chain of command, who gets notified. It's almost like a phone tree, but it's for emergency use. Who received the information first, who should that person contact, who should the next person contact. And that's generally how it's done in organizations, and especially organizations that have a number of people, so that one person isn't tasked with trying to communicate with everyone. And so going forth, I would like to see us develop something akin to that, along with, if we go with this system, we definitely would have to identify who would have access to sending out first. But that concludes my report.
I have a question and a comment. So I guess my main question, first question is, so who is going to get access and who is going to be responsible for doing the alerts? So you might have access as the mayor, but you probably won't be the one out there actually physically posting the alerts, right? So who's going to, how do you plan on working that part out?
That would have to come, first of all, we know this route, that would be the next step, is to designate person, whoever is going to get the information and facilitate. So, it has to be somebody that's on staff, and find out how that information gets to that person, and does that person have to be in the village to be disseminated, or can they do it, I guess you would call it mobile, or phone or whatever, so that's something we have to find out. First thing, are you satisfied with this? You want to see another one? Is there another one you want to see, or even if you want to go this way? So, board members, whether or not you're satisfied with this, and
I guess that goes to my comment that I had. So $3,500 is the minimum for an option for a package, but so we have 10,000 residents, how many will sign up? Like, what kind of engagement can we get from the residents that we can push this out there so they know this is available for them? It would be nice to get half the residents, 5,000, but I mean, I guess as trustees and residents, we need to kind of push this and figure out how we can get more engagement so that it's worth a while.
the way he's playing is that we have a base, a database. We're talking about phone numbers, but I know we have a mailing database.
Correct.
But this is going to be something that's going to be disseminated through social media and other means other than mailing it out. So we'll have to update that and get the phone numbers for that. That would take, some of that doesn't take that much. I mean, it's just a matter of going and updating people's phone numbers and getting the phone numbers.
Well, can I jump in? Sorry. So he did say that they would start with white pages. So they've got access to all of that information right out of the gate. So they know they've got landline information at a minimum. So for those of us dinosaurs that still have landlines, they would start with that. But that's phone calls, right? So, when you're talking about plans, that's the phone numbers, and that's going to kick off counting, ticking towards your however many minutes that we're talking about with the 3 plans, versus the texts, the emails, whatever other venues we opt for, would be where we would have the link on the website where people could go in and sign up via their cell phone numbers, or if we wanted to use social media. Me personally, I would like to get out of the social media business and use this as a website as venues for not having a social media page, and let this be in lieu of, especially for things, because, this is great for emergencies, but it's also the general stuff. So if we've got activities going on, that's where, we could have the messages going out as well to say, National Night Out is tonight, or Easter egg hunt is next Saturday, or whatever we want it to be, right? It doesn't have to always be water main break on Torrance, or or shooting, stay away from this area. It can be whatever we want it to be. That's the nice thing about this. The one thing you know, that's good about it is there are the options with the cost, and it is fairly inexpensive with no upfront costs, I would say that. I was worried that there was an upfront setup or initiation fee, so it's nice to hear that that's not there.
Well, let me ask the question. Do trustees feel they want to have another presentation by somebody else, or do they feel this is something that they'd like to go with? And I'll start with, coming this way, trustee Brewer. Do you want to have another, okay, trustee Zuber?
The one thing I want to just circle back with, I really like this and the fact that we've got the ability to tailor by mapping. I really like that for things like water main breaks. That way you're not sending it out to the entire village, because I think with things like water main breaks, that can lead to confusion unnecessarily. So, you know, that ability for Public Works to zone in on just the affected area is a really good one. I know that Sauk's with the website has a similar offering, but I don't think they have that flexibility to do that. So for that reason, and they don't have quite the flexibility, I think, with the cost like this, but I want to just double check before I say that for sure, but I do like what I see here.
I'm fine with this one.
I got a quick question though. I noticed on here that you had this 15,000 annual system invoice. Then what happens if we exceed the 15,000? 15,000.
We do not ask for that question.
We don't have to start about it. I said, you
So
know.
for $3,500, we get $15,000.
Yeah. So what happens?
That's the $3,500 here.
I mean, it's no,
Could you use the mics? We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
But that's where the mayor was asking, what if we find that we're getting close, can we change? And Brian said, you can always upgrade. So I think if we find we're getting close to our limit, as we're tracking throughout the year, we can always say, hey, we need to upgrade and go to the next level up. If we start out at the low end and find we're hitting ourselves at, you know, at the limit already.
So we also, the question goes back to how much more would it cost if we say, for instance, we get 2,000 or 3,000
No,
more?
you don't. His package is
Yeah.
3,500,
So
4,000.
if we decide to ask for additional funds.
His package is $3,500, $4,250, and $5,000. For the $3,500, you get 15,000 annual minutes. For the 4,200, you get unlimited emergency and 10,000 non-emergency minutes. And for 5,000 annually, you get unlimited emergency and non-emergency minutes for a year. So if we get to the point that you think we, we get to the point that we need more at 35, you just stated that we can. There is no, because let me get a few thousand minutes, we're gonna go to a different package. There's nothing that our part that you can just go.
And then keep in mind, the 15,000 is on calls that were answered and not calls that just were down.
Correct. Mr. Conley, did you vote your?
Yes, sir, I have one comment. You're gonna need two designated contacts. One is for emergency, because you can't predict when that will occur. That's gonna have to be with some 24-hour agency, some agency that's in town, that's open 24 hours. That always with the police. The other one is for general information, which can come out basically any time. So you're gonna need those two, and I seriously believe in an effective, efficient, safe program. Cold red is an effective, efficient, safe program. And it's needed. As part of that modern technology.
What I would like to do is, with the consent of the board, is to have our lawyers look at the contract, and make sure that there's no loopholes, we do something with the holding, so I would like to have them look at that, and then I can bring that back to the board. Their findings, I get a copy of that contract, and we get it out to the lawyer, to let them see it, and then we go from there. Since everyone seems to be agreeing with it, I that, since everyone feels that they're in agreement with it, then we can move forward. The next step would be with the lawyers. And when they look at it, then we can bring it back. I'm sure there's not a rush, so probably by the time we look at it and talk about it, it'll probably be on the next board meeting. Not just coming up board meeting, but two. So I'm sure we'll have to look at it. Yes, they can look at it between now and the time I get it, and then I'll get it back. Okay, so then that's what I'm saying. Okay, everyone agrees with that? First board meeting in March.
We can't hear you. We're talking about it and voting on it on March 12th. Thank you. You're welcome.
What's wrong with the mics? You're worried about something and you can't.
I didn't know I was going to be talking anymore, honestly.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so then we will just move on with that, and the next item we have is our treasurer is going to come and try to explain what, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Director's interim slash our treasurer, Mr. Anthony Finch. Everybody got, you can come up to the front, Mr. Finch. Everybody has a copy of the revenue comparison. I think he gave it and put it on the email to everyone. There's a couple of things that didn't transfer over. Don't be alarmed. It'll be the building department, community development department, and the fire department. For some reason, it didn't transfer over, so those will be given to each one of us as soon as we can. I don't know if it had anything to do with Civic, because they're in here now doing things, but those three different items weren't transferred all the way over, so you cannot speak on those three, but everything else you can. With that being said, I'm sure we've gotten these before. These are actuals, the budgets. That being said, fire, community development, and building department. Okay? With that being said, like I said before, this is not nothing new, but the board wanted to bring, I guess, get some questions answered. So with that being said, hopefully we're not going to turn this into a back and forth, because, I'm sure that, this is something that's really, yes, this is what we're here for, to answer those questions. All he can do is answer the questions that he has. If you want more detail and you're not satisfied with that, he will be here on Thursdays and Fridays all day from now on for a while, so we can get a person or we go out for that. But right now, I'll turn it over to Mr. Finch. And is there any questions any of the trustees have in regards to the report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Can't hear you.
I don't know if that's on.
No, it's not.
It's not on. You gotta press the button till the green light comes on. Hold it in till the green light comes on.
Can you hear me?
No.
Remember, I'll-
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, and trustee. As the mayor was just saying, the report that you guys just received last Friday was partially incomplete. I need to check with our accounting system to find out why those data points are not pulled in to those respective departments. As you know, This is year-to-date as of December. Some of the questions I may can answer, some of the questions that I'm not able to answer, let me know and I get that answer to you, whether it be in the body or to each of you individually. So if you had a chance to go through the report and you see something that you want to question or have concern about, please let me know. But keep in mind that I just got mainly the access to this information as of last Thursday. And with anything dealing with finance, it's a wealth of information to break it down to a detailed level. So, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to answer those based on what I've gathered the last couple of days. And those information that I do not have at this time, I will make sure you get it in another week or so. And as the mayor said, if need be, we can set up a time Thursday or Friday, come sit with me one-on-one, and I'll provide whatever information you need with respect to the activities year-to-date in those particular general ledger accounts. So, does anybody have any questions for me? Because I am limited with information on year-to-date activities.
So let me kick it off. The report that you gave us is simply a dump out of Civic, yes?
Yes.
Versus what we had received, sorry, I feel like I'm a little loud here. Versus what we had received at the last committee meeting was probably something that the former director had put together by hand, where we had a prorated budget amount, so that the budget amount was year-to-date, versus I feel like what we've got here is a budget the entire year. So we're looking at the variance of year-to-date actual versus the entire year versus the prorated budget year. Is that true?
Yes. It's
So it's a slightly misleading, so it's
which report?
the one you gave us from Civic, yeah.
No. The Civic report is what's in your county system. So what's in the county system is what prints out. And if you look at the third column, that should be your actual budget amount from the budget that was done. I'm assuming last year you guys approved it. So that number is what's in the budget. The number to the left of that, year-to-date, is the number again that came out of Civic. What I'm saying is with the other departments, for whatever reason, when Civic upgraded, it did not pull over, like for instance, in the building department. So that's why you see just a zero. So if I was to look at the budget last year that you guys approved, for instance, on property taxes, it should show $1,017,000 is what was approved for the budget. Year-to-date is $700,000 that came in so far. That should be what was posted to our county system, which where Civic pulled information from.
But is that $1,017,000 for the entire year or through December?
It should be for the entire year.
Okay, so that, yeah, so what my point was though is the report that we had from the last committee meeting, she had done a prorated budget amount that would have made it look like here's what we were expecting through November month end versus the entire budget end of year.
Okay.
So we're not looking apples to apples here, we're apples to oranges.
Right, if you prorate this, but to speak on that, the way I do my financial analysis is year-to-date based on budget. Because if you try to prorate it, for instance, property taxes don't come into March. If your budget is $1 million and the bulk of it doesn't come into March, in January, February, it's going to look like you're not getting any property taxes. So it's kind of screwed the numbers. But if your year-to-date is based on your versus your actual budget of $1 million, then you get a more detailed analysis of what you receive compared to what you projected to receive. And then I can explain why you got $200,000 of the, let's say, $1 million that you anticipated.
Well, property taxes is probably the bad example there, it just happened to be the first one.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
last report that we had from the collector's report, the last one I had was dated, I think July 2018.
August
Was
28th.
it August?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to close the books this August?
That I have to look into. Again, you have to understand, I'm only here 2 days. To know the whole accounting process. Accounting and finance is two different entities.
Okay.
The accounting part is the part of the closing of the books. I have not done that deep dive into understanding if the books were closed. If they have not been closed, then I will work with the team that they have to get the books closed and give you the actual numbers based on those closed numbers, the financials are.
Okay. And now my next question is that, since I've been here, we've been asking for detailed ledgers on different funds and, overtime, bills, stuff like that. Is it possible now to get,
If you give me time, and I need time within a couple of days, I'm only here a couple of days out of the week, you'll get your detailed financial numbers that you're looking for, and I will be able to articulate what those numbers compile to be. So you know what's in those numbers and where those numbers generated from. Just give me some time. Now, I would say this, once I learn the civic system and know how to handle it, you can simply, we can go through whatever numbers you want to pick out here, and I'll be able to tell you what's in those numbers. But I have to have the time to look into them and understand what makes up those numbers.
but right now, we really don't know
No,
what the money is, what the balance is, or,
Well, I don't know myself, but once I get that, I will be able to share with you.
sort of disheartening to know that we have a financial.
Could we please use the mic? We cannot hear her back here.
It's sort of disheartening to not know
Thank you.
how much money is there. We have had finance directors and, people going in and out. And it's a little disheartening to know that, we don't know what's going on.
But once I get it, the grasp, you will have it, you will know.
And another thing I'm concerned about is, the budget period is ending soon.
That's another task I want to take. Which I got about 2 months to prepare a budget, which means before I can prepare that budget, I have to understand what budget we can prepare last year. Because all these numbers are numbers that I have no input to. So I might come back to you and say, why you up? For instance, property tax. Why is it so high? And based on what the county said, that's not what you get. That's the decision you guys will have to make. But I'll be able to have that number to understand why I'm making my suggestions versus what you guys did last year. So I'll have to do my analysis and then you guys make the final decision.
Any other questions?
Yeah, one question. Can you, on page 4, can you check with the chief, on the police chief that is, on the cops hiring grant? Seems like we hadn't received the full amount. I'm not sure if anybody paid half. I'm not sure how they paid, but it seems like maybe they have more payments to make. Just follow up and see what's going on with that.
I can do that, and I have that with you. I have that next Tuesday for the next meeting. I have that answer to you.
The cops grant.
Okay.
I'm sorry, these numbers, these figures are, we should just because these figures are really off to me. It seems like we don't have everything that we need in order to, I'm just flipping through stuff. So it seems like we should just wait until.
I would suggest if you wait, allow me some time, then that way when you see a variance that you question, I will be able to elaborate more on it. Because again, this is from May through December. May through December, I wasn't here. I didn't do any accounting, I didn't do any finance. So if you allow me the time to do it, to analyze stuff, I can be able to more articulate what's in those numbers. So yes.
All right, then, thank you very much. The next item, is a follow-up with, the next item is a follow-up review and discussion of RFP. Trustee Brewer?
Please, Mr. Mike.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Here's a listing of the breakdown of, this is sort of mundane now since Mr. Finch hasn't taken a look at it, but I want to give it to you anyway. This relates to the 2019-2020 budget. I talked to former Finance Director Sutton before she left, and we did have a chance to talk about the breakdown of how much it would cost for RFP. She didn't get back to me to approve it, but, you know, I'm gonna throw it out there, and then we have to, tweak it or take a look at it once we find out what the real numbers are. So if you can take a look at this, and I'm going to, type over there. This is the one page. This is the one page. Oh, I got picture of it. Now, as we go through that, we know we have always had problems with finances here in Sauk Village. To pay, we always borrow from Peter to pay Paul. This has been a standard process for us for years, not only in this administration, but previous administration also. This has been going back the last 10, 15, 20 years. So with that being said, we're not accusing anybody of any wrongdoing. We want transparency and accountability. And we can't do that unless we know what the details are. We have numbers with bottom lines, and as you can see, Mr. Finch says there, he's not quite sure of the bottom line because of the civic system. However, what we're looking for is the details. What bills were paid? How much did we pay for overtime? How much did we pay for the employees, and so on and so on. So as we go through here and find out what the detail is and come up with a bottom line, we'll know how much money is out there. Where is the money? How the money was spent? And what should we expect over the long run? Now, the first thing after I talked to Ms. Sutherland is that she indicated that it would be fine as long as we don't take everything out of the one fund. Now, she suggested, and she left before I got her to sign off on it, to $25,000 for the water fund, $25,000 for the sewer fund, $10,000 for the utility fund, $25,000 for MFT, $5,000 for the police, $5,000 for fire and EMS, and $5,000 for administration. That's a total of $100,000. This is only a suggestion on how much it costs. Because if it goes over, we can always tap into the reserve. She thought this would be a good idea, but again, I didn't have it written up before she left. But the thing is not to accuse anybody of anything. Like I said, it's for reliability, accuracy, and the strength of internal controls. We need to get a handle on what's going on with our funds. Okay, if you know who's been here years and years and years, you know we have always had the same problem. We need to know what the bottom line is so we can move forward. So if you got any questions, take them.
Just gotta say, this is just hearsay, it's just secondhand information.
Can't hear you.
She's not here.
Thank you.
This is just secondhand information, if she's not here, it's not signing.
Is your mic not on? I don't think it's on. It's the green light on.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Have his nose.
This is just secondhand information. It's really no good because the person who made the statement is gone. We have to wait for Mr. Finch to find out what his examination comes through.
Well, Mr. Trustee Carter, it's great to wait for Mr. Finch, but however, this is a proposal that I'm putting out. I just had Ms. Sutherland looking, and I agreed to it, and she was telling me that the money's there. That's the only purpose that she was there. And since she said that we're going to do this for the 2019 and 2020 budget, that the money could be there. That's if we approve it, the allocation before that. So we really didn't need it. The reason I'm mentioning Ms. Sutherland is that I was the person I was working with in order to get this information out.
She's not here to verify.
She doesn't need to verify this. That's what the trustees are for.
But trustee, I just have one question.
Anyone else?
So, you said you want to know where we stand. This document here, through December, it pretty much tells us exactly where we stand. Now, I know that you wanted invoices and detailed ledgers, but when we pay the invoices, they all equal and total up to this document here. And this is as of December. So, I'm sure that, when Mr. Finch gets, when we're acclimated, we can get January done, and we have a better picture of where we stand. But I think that everything that you're looking for is right here in this document. And I think that if he can sit down and maybe explain with all of us what's going on at a later date, that would kind of, be better. The $100,000 that she says that we have, and to take money from here, and there. I mean, again, like to Trustee Carter's points, I mean, that's what she said, but she didn't say that to us. But I mean, I think we understand this document better, then we have a better understanding of where we are.
Thank you for that input, Trustee Grant. However, the financial data that I'm seeking is information that's already there. What we want to do with the RFP is that accounts will come in, take a look at, make sure that the bank statements, the vendor receipts, the customer accounts are all accurate. We want to make sure that whatever we ask for is what is actually put in the civic database. And since that has never been done, we have issues with estimated water bills. We have issues with water fund monies being moved without our authorities. We have issues of this money being moved like the CN fund. We don't have any idea how much that is being left in the particular funds. We also have issues with the garbage company. For those of you who have been here for years before, we had a problem a couple of years ago where we got stuck into a 14-year contract because of the non-reconciliation of accounts. What we need is go in there and reconcile and find out what's there. We need to reconcile with the water department. We need to reconcile with every fund that comes in there and make sure we have the receipts to match what's in the civic center. And as I've said this before, nobody actually knows what's there. And this is proof that you just lifted up, and it tells you that, yes, we got a bottom line, but we don't know how we got to the bottom line.
But trustees, but also every year we have an audit that we do. And within that audit, they tell us what things that we need to do better, what things that we're doing good at, and so on and so forth. And then they kind of explain, it's pretty much a double check of what we already do. And they do the double check, and they give us a report for it. So to spend another $100,000 to do another audit when we already do an audit that we already pay for, to me that just seems redundant and unnecessary. Because the audit, they complete the audit, they're not going to put anything in there that's going to make themselves liable for anything that we might do wrong. So therefore, they're accountable once they sign off on that audit. So that audit...
Can I
comment on that? I agree with what Trustee Grant was saying. And I'm saying this from the way I analyze numbers and pay bills. The real estate I work for, I always look at it as if it's my personal money. So rest assured, when I give you the numbers, I'm going to know the numbers, I'm going to be able to articulate the numbers that I stated before. The $100,000, in my experience, that is a lot. I don't think that's going to be enough to do a true forensic audit. A forensic audit is a process that really is going to be like a Tasmanian devil coming to the village, because they're going to look at every single thing. But like Trustee Grant was saying, you pay an auditor. Those auditors are CPAs. It's like a lawyer. They're not going to do certain things to jeopardize their CPA for nobody, So part of that, you say you don't know where the money comes in. Part of the audit, they do what they call a confirmation letter. That letter is sent to the bank. If you pay that bank has to sign off saying, at this point in time, this is how much money we confirm that was in the bank account. Them auditors come back to Sauk Village and they look at the civic system. If they don't see that number in the civic system compared to what's in the bank, they write a report. It's called a note to the financial. That's one check and balance to see if the money's where the money's at. And then also when they do the audit, they do what they call a matching letter. The management letters, when they're supposed to come sit down with you guys and say, these are all the things that we found wrong, these are the things we found right. You mentioned about internal control. That's a big sticking point for any auditors to look at. Internal control is very, very serious. That's why you go to a place like a McDonald's or whatever, they always say, you don't get a receipt, call this number, because they know people will steal. But the auditors will get that. As far as accounts payable, I don't know your process here, but like what we do in Linwood, accounts payable is proved, the check is not cut unless there's an invoice attached to it, so it can be $1 for $1 match. Because like the lady in Dixon, Illinois, that's how she was able to do what she did, because it was not a check. So you have checks and balances to accounts payable. As far as bank reconciliation, I can't speak to that. But what I can do is to let you know that once I get abreast of everything going on here, I've already talked to Shanice and Cynthia, that in the house, as well as the mayor, that we probably spend some time in the evenings or on the weekend to look at the bank recs and get them caught up. Because I believe, in my opinion, it's up to you guys again, that anybody within the accounting department should be able to do pretty much most of the accounting tasks, not necessarily heavy lifting, but be able to do stuff like a bank recs and checks and balances. As far as estimated water reading, you brought that up. That's one of the things that I noticed when I first got here on Thursday. I've already met with Kevin. There's over 800 water readings, and I agree with you. That should not be. As of Friday, I'll be having a meeting again. I've already talked to Civics and Intron to make sure that that's not a computer glitch. So we're moving forward to get that rectified. The way I operate with respect to water, if you don't collect your water, you just pour money down the drain. So that will be corrected as soon as I understand why it wasn't done. Again, I can't speak to the past, I can only speak to how I operate and how I move forward. As far as the water fund, money is going to be transferred in and out of the water fund because the water fund, the way it's set up typically, is set up to be a profit center. So once the main bills are paid, money will be transferred in and out of the water fund to various accounts like the general fund or payroll account. Again, that's something, if you look through your audit, you will see that they explain that in the audit. Because within the audit, all the funds has what is called like a balance sheet. It's going to show what came in and what's went out. That's why you see certain accounts that's going to have deficit and certain accounts that are going to have a positive balance. So to Trustee Grant's point, if you really go through the audit and ask your auditor in-house to understand for, basically they answer most, if not all, those questions because it's their job to do exactly what you're looking for, to make sure that the city is accounting for every bit of money that comes in, as well as every bit of money that comes out. That's why, as you know, Madam Clerk, they ask for May, June, July minutes to make sure that after the fiscal year, there's no major events that has happened. And then they also give the state to make sure revenue that came in May, June, July, if it's supposed to come in April, they account for that as well. So I guess if I had a decision making $100,000, it would be well served to get your auditor to analyze it, and if need, we get a part-time person to assist. But to spend that money, I think that's just a tip of what it's going to actually cost at the end of the day.
Thank you for that information. To piggyback on what you were saying, a lot of information that we have gotten through the years, we don't have a dollar match. We don't have invoices for a lot of these things that we have been going through. Estimated water bills have been done for years. Nothing has been done about it. There's no reconciliation or anything. There's no reconciliation of garbage bills. We know that for a fact because we still owe them $389,000. So these things have been going on for years. And I understand about the management letters. We get those every year. No reconciliation is going on. We have been going on with the same status quo every year. Nothing has changed here. You know, so I have problems for a long time, and I'm just saying, these are long-standing problems. When I say, I'm talking about 20 or 30 years, and nothing has been done about this.
But when you say,
I'm finished. So we have no idea about transfers. Money is moved out, in and out of here every day, and we don't know where it's at. Next thing you know, it's on the report, and we don't, trustees don't know why. Case in point, you know, certain things happened in May of 2017, November 2017. Money was moved, we never knew about it. We have no idea what's in the tip funds. We just got refunded for that. If you ask them for a report, you know, should have bottom line or what's been going on, can't get a report. So the thing is that, yes, we know we have problems, but I don't care what you say, at the end of the day, at the bottom line is, unless you have a detail of what's going on, nobody's going to know what's going on. And right now, at that point, nobody up here, no trustees, for example, spending the money's not a good idea. But wait a minute, we've been doing this for 20 or 30 years, and we still don't know what the money is. You know, we need things like fire hydrants, we need things like pipes and stuff like that. We need stuff where, we just raised the fees for the sewers. We need money, because there's a mandatory MWRD program that's mandatory. We're not going to have the money there, because that money, as I understand, is gone for some reason. I don't know why. We don't know what the bottom line is. We don't know what's been spent and what's not being spent and how much money's in there. So my thing is that, yes, we need this audit done, because it will give us some more details about how much money we spent, where our money is, and what we're going to do in the future. The same, if you do the same thing you doing before, you're going to come up with the same results. We don't know.
Trustee Brewer, I just want to make a comment that we do not owe the public $389,000.
I'm sorry, what?
You made a comment that we owe the public $389,000. We do not owe.
I didn't say that. I said, we ran, listen to, excuse me, we ran into the problem with Republic saying that we owe $389,000 when we had the issue with Republic. That's been more than 2016. Okay.
Okay, hold just one second. Okay. Now, I allowed to go back and forth, and we went back and forth, we gave a report. We're not gonna sit here and go back and forth and just argue back and forth. That's not what this meeting is for. It's an informational meeting. We're here to present. You presented what you said you wanted to present to the trustees. You wanted to present to them that you're looking, and I think that you're misunderstanding what the RFP is really for. RFP, you have on here that you want.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
I'm still talking.
Trustees are supposed to be debating, not the mayor.
Trustee, I'm still
Trustees
talking.
are still supposed to be debating,
Trustee,
not the mayor,
I'm
and I
still-
haven't finished. Okay?
Trustee, I'm
So
talking.
I'm not asking for,
I'm
I'll give
talking.
you my interpretation of what I think is.
Trustee, I'm still talking.
Okay.
I'm still talking.
So
Thank you.
definitely-
So, see, that's what I'm saying, but you want somebody to respect you.
Okay.
A RFP that you're asking for, I don't think that you understand what that is.
And
Your
I don't think
RFP
you
is a
understand what I'm talking
request.
about either.
RFP is a request for a proposal. It's
I
not-
understand. I just-
But you're asking for a request, you said that the RFP is essential to the financial growth of the village. No, it's not. That's not what RFP is for. It's a request for a proposal to go out and get someone else to come in, to submit their proposals to show us how much money it would cost to do X, Y, and Z. But it's not essential. So that's all I'm saying, but back to what I originally stated, we're not gonna go back and forth and argue in this committee meeting nonsensely. If you have a question, the treasurer said he would be more than happy on Thursday and Friday when he's here to answer some of your questions. But to hold this board up now because
Wait,
you're gonna go.
Mr. Mayor, you can't
See,
tell
I'm
me what I
still
can say, can
talking.
and cannot say. You
I'm
cannot tell me holding up a board. I have legitimate questions, I have not finished with the presentation, and you cannot dictate what I can
I'm
and
not
cannot say
dictating,
here, and
Trustee.
tell me what I'm wrong or
I
right
didn't,
about.
but
I'm
see, you
giving
want me
them
to
as fast
respect.
as I
You want me
know
to
with the
respect.
trustees, but you
Want me to
but
respect
you're gonna
what you
tell
say.
me what I can and cannot do. You don't
You
have
want,
that right.
you want me to
You know?
respect what you say.
So, okay, then you don't need to
Because the
tell me
very
I'm wrong
next
or
time
right.
you ask, I'll ask for
You
a
know?
motion to adjourn.
For
For the very next time, if you keep interrupting me, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. See, there you go. There you go. I didn't say nothing to you when you was talking to Mr. Fitz. You all was more back. I'm stopping
You
it.
started that stuff this evening.
Yes, you can. So if you continue to keep going back and forth, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Because we're not gonna do this. So only thing I'm saying is you gave the report, you gave out how much money that you would like to have taken out of the different funds to get an audit. But your first statement said that the RFP is essential to the financial growth of the village. No, it is not. That's what I was trying to tell you. RFP has nothing to do with the financial growth of anything. RFP is a request. That's what that is. So by saying that you presented what you have, but now you're going back and forth and you're asking
You're
the.
debating, and you shouldn't be debating.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Come on, we have things we want to say.
No, we're gonna have public comment. We just won't have a meeting. So I'm not gonna sit here and keep going back and forth.
Right, I mean,
And,
everybody.
it was moved by trustee, Carter, second by. Because I'm not gonna keep going back and forth on this. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll go to public comment and, to that point right now. We'll go to public comment. Please state your name.
Judy Cast here. Thank you, Mr. Finch, for staying. And I think you need to hear what the village has to say, opposed to your trustees. We want a new audit. We don't want the same people doing the audits that we don't know that they're correct. We don't know that they're true and honest. We're looking for honesty. We're looking for transparency. We are looking for everything that's been stated over and over and over. We don't know. Are you using operational transfers? We've asked that question over and over and over. Nobody seems to want to answer. If you're taking money from the water department and you don't have to pay it back, why do we have to keep getting increases in our water rates for infrastructure when you keep taking the damn money out and don't have to pay it back? We're asking legitimate questions. We're not getting the answers. Therefore, a forensic audit to us would help us know that what they say is honest and true. And Mr. Finch, I'm sorry, but I don't believe you're going to be allowed to give Bernice the answers to the questions that she wants. Somebody has stopped the previous people. And Derek, I would like to know, is the HR person going to get a third paycheck for helping out with the finance department? And if so, why? What qualifications has she got to work on finance? She doesn't have the qualifications to work on the police contract and is milking us dry. We could have paid a lawyer for half the money that she's cost us. And it's not right. We want transparency. We're not fighting because we lost a race. You remember, I wasn't in the loser spot. I was on your campaign, Derek, with 100% loyalty that got shoved in the toilet right after the election. And I didn't do the shoving.
Two times in 2 days. That's how I blew through my tires in 2 days. On Cornell.
Mine's not going to last 3 minutes anyway. Mr. Grant, with due respect, it would be wonderful if we could say, yes, the bottom line is going to have all these invoices and everything's going to match up to the penny. I have put in FOIAs, numerous other people have put in FOIAs, and I get a response back. The document does not exist. The invoice does not exist. So if it doesn't exist, how does your bottom line come up to equal anything? If you don't have an invoice for what you say you're spending, how can your bottom line be correct? I put in several FOIAs, And I keep getting back the same response. Sorry, no document exists. Where did it go? And as far as the dog is still running loose. There was a dog from that property running in my yard this morning. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just came here to talk about Cornell Street. You know, we did all the work on Cornell. The roads are paved, part of it. If you go down Cornell right now, there are so many potholes, and that's a thoroughfare for everybody to go through. The street is so bad, I blew 2 of my tires, brand new tires, on Cornell Street. And I had to have my son tow it to get it fixed. 3 people today have gotten their tires blown going down Cornell. I'm wondering, is it anything that anybody can do to see if we can pave the rest of Cornell from 223rd Street to where we connect to where we had already done? If you ride down there now, when you're going through, when you hit by my house and my son's house, and where we already paved, there's nothing but potholes. And I know nobody intended for that to happen, but that's what's there. So I'm just saying, people are going to be coming to the village to let you all know that they're losing their tires because of it. I mean, I know you all didn't pay for it. We got a grant or a loan or however you want to say it. But what can we do as a village? Because Cornell is used to go through for everybody, basically, if you're going that way. Can we do something to get that fixed?
Heidi Parker. I would like to remind the board that I stood up here at least twice to talk about invoices for the railroad grant for $60,000. The foyer, by the way, is still open by the Attorney General. There were at least nine invoices that could not be produced. So I don't know how you keep your books. I am. Mary Escobedo. I'm here again to talk about social media, as I do every week, and will continue to come every week to talk about social media. You all were given an ordinance, all of you, the trustees that were put in, because they knew that you would agree with whatever the mayor said. You were not voted in, so you're not really showing the residents that you're for the residents. So I'm not sure exactly why you're here. Actually, I do, because you vote with whatever here it says, tells you to vote. Anyway, on social media, since you all want to keep talking on social media, it was said that there's a person that gets up here and talks every week and embarrasses themselves. So do they embarrass themselves, or are they embarrassing you all? Because everybody is watching the videos, because I've asked people to watch the videos, and the first thing they said was, you all have legitimate questions, and he's not answering any of you. And I said, that is true. So, just to let you know, that everybody is viewing the videos and watching how you all vote, when half of you know it's wrong, how some of you sit there through the whole meeting when Derek starts to talk, and you sit there shaking your head up and down always. So, I will continue to come up and talk about social media, and we'll get in a little deeper as we go along. Because the residents are watching and are not liking what's going on, I'll be back to tell you about that. Thank you.
Debbie Williams. Good evening, Mayor, Trustee. What I came here to originally say has changed over the course of the evening. First of all, good job, Barbara. I like the code red. I think it's a great idea. Second of all, I do appreciate Mr. Finch being here tonight because I think we got a little bit more perspective on what we might be able to come to expect. Because up until now, we haven't really had somebody that has actually said that they were going to break it down for us in a way that we could understand and actually provide backup to what we need to know. The problem, as I've been stating for the past several months, is the lack of official information causes speculation and misinformation to continue to be spread in the medium that most people are using now, yes, which is social media. Unfortunately, I personally don't like it, but if that's the venue that we all have to use, that's the venue that we're using. So in saying that, I shared my social media post with the mayor and the trustees tonight. In my way of being open and transparent, I want you to know how I feel about my FOIAs not being responded to. Since August of 2018, I've been asking very simply for a copy of the accounts payables for 2017 and 18 and now 19. There's absolutely no reason why that information is not on the website. The residents are entitled to know. The collector's reports, not on the website. The residents are entitled to know. I put that in a week ago, and I was told they need 5 more days to get the information together. There has to be a file somewhere with accounts payable reports right there. Why does it take another 5 days? Vacant homes list? I know for a fact a vacant homes list was prepared last week. I asked for a vacant homes list, and they need 5 more days to put it together. So my question is, I know that neither the mayor nor the trustees answer FOIAs. I know you don't do the vacant homes list, but do you know you have staff that is not answering your residents' questions? Trustees are elected to serve the residents. We're not being served. We have questions. The reason for the financial forensic audit is because too many residents don't feel that we're getting the right information. We ask for invoices, we don't get them. We ask questions, we don't get answers. Trustees aren't getting information. So of course they want a forensic audit. We've had 2 finance directors leave within the past several months. One, supposedly, under questionable circumstances. If you speak to some people, they say they both left under questionable circumstances. So my question is, as a resident, I don't want to appear attacking or bullying. That's not my purpose for being here. Because believe me when I tell you, I've sat through too many of these meetings. Please, can we just work together and get along? Because we need answers, and I hope you can get it, Mr. Finch.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask through your trustee, or excuse me, one trustee and a clerk question?
You can state your question, then. Go ahead.
Name's Edwin Myers, I live at 2171 221st Street, Sauk Village, Illinois. Madam Clerk, could I have the date of the next meeting if you have it? Did you get confirmed at the next committee meeting? The combination government body. The committee that you meet with all 3 local government bodies this time.
You could ask that. You came up and asked that any time. But what was the second question?
Monday at 3 o'clock.
What is it?
Monday at 3 o'clock.
Thank you. Madam Trustee Dupont, could you please tell me when's the date of your next safety committee meeting?
The first Wednesday of the month,
Thank you.
6 p.m. here in Northanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, that's all.
Springfield, 1633, 216 place. Last week,
Can you speak up, please? I can't.
last week I asked you and the board to be more friendly towards each other. Last week, as you gave a report, you talked about everybody except the clerk. Mr. Brewer, my question to you is this. Why did you do that? And if that copy that you wrote last week, was a campaign speech, or it was what the board has done? If so, I want to see a copy of it. And if I can't, will you tell me why? The second thing is when we come to this meeting, we come here to ask you questions that we don't know. And I asked you before, if I ask you a question and you don't know the answer to it, all you have to do is to tell me, I'll get back to you. And by the next meeting, you should have the answer to that. So what we need to start doing here is this. Respect each other. You don't need to look at one another and bite the head off. That's not what this meeting is about. What you're supposed to be doing is giving each other respect, talk out what you have to do, and if it comes to an argument, you know how to do this. We close it down and go back in the back. We didn't come here to argue. We come here to hear you talk about the business and give respect to each other. Thank you.
Okay, guess everybody's through. On the auditors, the audit firm has been voted on every year, so this year, after this audit is done, we're gonna vote to accept, not accept, but to keep them and get a new one. That's up to the board. Increase in water rates. The water rates haven't went up, but your garbage bills have. And your garbage bill is going to continue to go up 3% every year for the next 12 years. That was the agreement that was made 3 years ago. So to say, or 4 years ago, so to say that the water rates is on the same bill, yes it is. The sewer rates went up because it was a mandated expense that had to be done, that the government, the state said that we had to do some things, so that's why we had to raise the rates so we could do and be in compliance to do some things that had to be taken care of through the state. They came in and at that meeting, I'm sure a lot of people that were here was at that meeting when our engineer went over everything that had to be said and what we had to do, and we voted on it. We had to comply. That was one of those unfunded mandates that they brought down from the state that we have to do. So your water rates will continue to go up each and every year because that's what it was. I was against it. The $300 and some thousand was something that they came up with. They did the public stating that that's what we owe. If we today wanted to opt out and say we wanted to get home with disposal, to come out and pick up our garbage, we'd have to pay almost $335,000 to opt out of that contract, or else they would sue us, and we'll see what happens with that in court. So that's something that was voted on 3 years ago. As far as FOIA requests, yes, we get them all the time. A bunch of them. Some people have an attendance that they hear every week for the FOIA request, and we try to answer them. But if sometimes we get inundated with them, we have to ask for an extension because we don't have a full-time FOIA clerk that's just here doing nothing but FOIAs. So we have to extend and get an extension, but we try to answer as many FOIAs in those 5 days. But if it's more than that, we ask for an extension. I'm sorry to hear that the dog that was supposed to have been taken care of, I talked to the chief, he said he talked to the person and he went to their house, but he cannot break into someone's house. Can't break the peace like that. Yes, he's called, the officers are called out for that dog. They just can't come and kill a dog. I mean, they can come and try to talk to the person, but if the owner, if that dog is doing violation, they actually, where I was told, they have to actually catch him. If the dog is out and they see the dog out, yes, they can apprehend the dog. The Cornell Street, I'm assuming that you're talking about south of 223rd Street. That part was not paved, you're absolutely correct. But right now, this is a bad time for potholes. It is not just here in Sauk, but just everywhere. That you get freezing rain, salt, then ice. Then it melts. So then that patch you put in a while back freezes, expands, contracts, pops right out as soon as it gets warm. So until the weather stabilizes, it's ongoing. We had a crew out there, as soon as we get some warmer weather, can't put it out when it's too cold, we'll have another patching crew out because it's all over. Yes, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of potholes in the village, a lot of potholes on 394. I'm sure you see a bunch of them on 394. I'm sure you see a bunch of them in other towns. That's the nature of asphalt. It's not like concrete. Concrete's a little higher, but it also cracks too. So I'm sorry that, I'm hoping that, no one got hurt, but I'm sorry for that, but there's no answer other than keep patching until we can resurface. Even after you resurface, I'll wait for you all. Thank you very much. Even after even with the surfacing that was done on Sauk Trail, and that was done a while ago, that was a large resurfacing, and they did concrete. There's a pothole right there now, and that's concrete. So to say that we are trying to take care of as many as we can, and when the weather is more conducive, we're going to add more patch. And as far as resurfacing that, our next resurfacing job, I think, is 221st Street. And we're going to try to do that from, I think it's from 221st Street as you come in, all the way down to Orion. And then hopefully the following year, if we have enough money, we're going to try to do the horseshoe that's around there from Axon all the way around to Shirley, coming back around. So those are our next steps that we're looking to resurface. The invoices for CNN, I thought those were given out. I'll have to check on that because that project is over with, so those invoices should be available. I saw that it was asked for the accounts payable for the last 3 years, 17, 18, and then what we have in this year, 19. I'll get on that to find out. I just saw that a little while ago, so I'll get on that to find out the progress on that, because that's basically just pulling those records and disseminating that information. And the last thing, as far as the speech I gave last week, it is readily available. I'll make copies if you'd like to come up tomorrow and pick up a copy of that speech. I'm not running for anything, so therefore there's no campaign speech for me. So it was just an informative speech of what we've done in the last 19 months. So that's basically what that is. That was the State of the Village speech. With that being said, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Trustee Zupan, second by Trustee Carter. All in favor? Motion carries.